I woke before sunrise, even though my alarm had not rung. My hands shook as I stared at the framed picture of the space shuttle hanging above my desk. I smiled. Today is the day, I whispered. I had dreamed about working for NASA since I was 8 years old. Every late night, every failed test, and every sacrifice had led me here. When I arrived at the Johnson Space Center, Ethan Brooks was already waiting outside my office. "You look nervous," he said with a grin. "I am nervous. You've handled impossible systems before. This feels different." "It should." Before I could ask why, my phone buzzed. "Classified meeting. Level Omega. Report immediately." I frowned. "Have you ever seen a security level called Omega?" Ethan's smile disappeared. "No." The hallway leading to the conference room was guarded by armed security officers I had never seen before. They checked my badge 3 times before letting me inside. Only 5 people sat around the table. A tall man with gray hair stood first. "I'm Commander Daniel Hayes." I shook his hand. "I've read your file," he said. "You're one of the best systems engineers we've got." "Thank you, sir." He nodded toward an empty chair. "Sit. What you hear today never leaves this room." The lights dimmed. A large screen displayed 2 words. Project Echo. My heartbeat quickened. Commander Hayes looked at each of us. "Officially, this mission does not exist." Nobody spoke. "If anyone asks where you are going, you were never selected." I raised my hand. "Sir, why the secrecy?" He hesitated. Another scientist leaned forward. "Will our families know?" "No." "What if something happens to us?" "They'll be told you died during routine testing." The room fell silent. I felt a cold chill run through me. Commander Hayes continued. "We launch in 6 days." A woman wearing a mission badge frowned. "I thought launch was scheduled for next month." It was. What changed? I can't answer that. The meeting ended almost as quickly as it began. Outside, Ethan grabbed my arm. "What did they tell you?" "I can't say." "You don't have to." He looked around before lowering his voice. "I've heard stories." "What stories?" "People assigned to Project Echo disappear." I laughed nervously. "Disappear?" "They leave NASA records." "What do you mean?" "Their names vanish." I stared at him. "That's impossible." "I wish it was." He handed me a folded piece of paper. "Don't open this unless something feels wrong." "What is it?" "Insurance." "Ethan." "I'm serious." His voice had changed. I slipped the paper into my pocket without opening it. The next few days passed in endless training, medical exams, and security interviews. Every question felt strangely personal. What scares you most? What would make you betray your team? Who do you trust more than yourself? None of it made sense. The night before launch, I barely slept. The morning sky was clear as our transport carried us toward the launch pad. Commander Hayes looked at me. "Ready?" "I've been ready my whole life." He smiled. "I hope that's enough." As I climbed into the spacecraft, I took one last look at Earth through the open hatch. I whispered, "Please let me come home." The countdown echoed through my headset. 10, 9, 8. 7, 6, 5. I tightened my harness and took a slow breath. Ethan's voice came through my headset from mission control. "You still with me?" "I am." "You can still back out." I smiled. "You know me better than that." "I do." He paused. "Just promise me something." What? If anything feels wrong, trust your instincts before your orders. You're starting to scare me. I wish I wasn't. The communication ended. Commander Hayes looked across the cabin. Final systems check. Navigation, he asked. Ready. Life support. Ready. He turned toward me. Flight systems. I studied the display one last time. All systems are green. Good. Hold on. The engines roared beneath us. The entire spacecraft shook violently. For a second, I wondered if I had made the biggest mistake of my life. Then the force pushed me back into my seat. We have liftoff, Mission Control announced. Cheers filled my headset. I looked through the small window as Earth slowly fell away beneath us. It really is beautiful, I whispered. Commander Hayes smiled. Most people spend their whole lives looking up. We're finally looking down. Minutes later, the shaking stopped. We've reached orbit, someone announced. Applause broke out inside the cabin. I laughed. I can't believe we're actually here. Commander Hayes unstrapped himself. Congratulations, everyone. Project Echo has officially begun. I floated carefully toward my workstation. Everything felt strange without gravity. I checked the communication systems. Signal strength is normal. Copy that, Mission Control replied. For a while, everything seemed routine. Then a soft beep interrupted the silence. I frowned. Commander, I'm picking up an unknown transmission. From Mission Control? No. Another satellite? I don't think so. He floated beside me. Can you identify it? I shook my head. It isn't using any format I've ever seen. Another beep sounded. This time it was louder. The waveform stretched across my monitor in a perfect repeating pattern. Commander Hayes folded his arms. Could it be interference? I've never seen interference like this. I tried filtering the signal. Nothing changed. I changed frequencies. It followed us. I switched antennas. Still there. Mission Control spoke. Project Echo, report your status. Commander Hayes answered calmly. All systems operational. We're investigating an unidentified signal. A long silence followed. Finally, Mission Control replied. Ignore it. I looked at the speaker. Ignore it. Their voice remained flat. That is correct. Continue your mission. I exchanged a confused glance with Commander Hayes. He leaned closer and lowered his voice. Keep recording everything. You don't want me to ignore it? No. Even after that order. His expression hardened. Especially after that order. The signal grew stronger. Every screen in front of me flickered at the same time. A strange pattern spread across the monitors, as if something beyond our spacecraft was trying to speak. I stared at the display, unable to breathe. Whatever had found us was getting closer. I stared at the monitor as the strange pattern continued moving across the screen. My fingers hovered above the keyboard, but I did not know what command to enter. Commander Hayes looked at me. What do you see? I don't know yet. Figure it out. I'll try. Mission Control interrupted us. Project Echo, do not waste time on unidentified noise. Continue with your assigned tasks. I glanced at Hayes. He kept his face calm. Copy that, he replied. The moment the transmission ended, he leaned closer. Keep working. They just ordered us to stop. I heard them. Then why? Because they sounded afraid. His words settled heavily in my mind. I opened another analysis program and fed the signal into it. No match, I muttered. What about military frequencies? Hayes asked. Checking. A few seconds passed. No match. Commercial satellites? No. Natural radio waves? I shook my head. It doesn't behave like anything I've studied. Another crew member floated beside us. So we're chasing ghosts now? I forced a smile. I hope not. The cabin grew quiet except for the soft hum of life support systems. Suddenly another tone echoed through my headset. Beep. 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 The rhythm stayed perfectly steady. I frowned. It changed. Hayes crossed his arms. How? It's repeating at exact intervals. So random interference doesn't do that. He nodded slowly. Can you isolate it? I'm trying. Hours passed while I worked. The signal never weakened. Instead, it became clearer. I enlarged the waveform until it filled my display. Wait. Hayes looked over my shoulder. What is it? These peaks. What about them? They aren't random. You mean they're organized? Exactly. I highlighted sections with different colors. They repeat every 31 seconds. He stared at the screen. Almost like a message. That's what I'm thinking. Before either of us could say more, someone floated into the engineering section. It was Ethan. He smiled, but it looked forced. I asked Mission Control to patch me through. I laughed. You found a way to bother me even from Earth. I had to make sure you hadn't broken the spacecraft already. I've only been here a few hours. So there's still time. For a moment we both laughed. Then his expression became serious. Can we talk privately? Hayes noticed my face. I'll give you 2 a minute. The communication channel switched to private mode. Ethan, what's wrong? He hesitated. I wasn't supposed to tell you this. Tell me what? I searched some old classified archives after you launched. You did what? I know. It was stupid. Very. But listen first. I leaned closer to the microphone. I'm listening. I found references to your signal. I felt my heartbeat speed up. What? The exact same pattern. That's impossible. I thought so too. Where did you find it? In files dated 32 years ago. I gripped the edge of my workstation. Whose mission? The records didn't give a name. So who received the signal? I don't know. What happened to them? Silence answered me. Ethan. They never came back. The words hit me harder than I expected. I swallowed. Maybe the files were incomplete. I checked every archive I could access. And they simply ended. No rescue report. No. No accident report. No. No explanation. Nothing. I looked through the window at the endless darkness outside. For the first time since launch, space no longer felt beautiful. It felt empty. Dangerously empty. Ethan. Yeah. Why would NASA hide something like that? I wish I knew. The channel suddenly clicked. A new voice joined us. Private conversations are over. Mission Control. Ethan sighed quietly. I have to go. Wait. What? If you find anything else, I'll tell you. The connection ended. I sat motionless. Commander Hayes floated back toward me. Everything all right? I looked into his eyes. No. What happened? I took a slow breath. Ethan says this signal isn't new. Hayes didn't look surprised. He only asked one question. What else did he tell you? Commander Hayes held my gaze, waiting for my answer. He said another mission received the same signal over 30 years ago, I replied quietly. Hayes looked away for a moment. And, he asked. They never came back. Silence filled the cabin. I expected him to laugh or tell me Ethan was mistaken. Instead, he sighed. Keep your voice down. My stomach tightened. You knew. I know rumors. Those didn't sound like rumors. They're stories people tell when they don't have answers. I wanted to believe him. I really did. But something in his eyes told me he wasn't saying everything. Another sharp tone echoed through the cabin. Beep. 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 I hurried back to my console. The signal is changing again. Hayes floated beside me. Show me. The waveform twisted into a new pattern. It isn't repeating anymore, I said. It's adapting. That's impossible. I know. I opened the audio filter. Maybe we can hear it. You think it's sound? I think it's trying to become sound. The speakers crackled. Static filled the cabin. Then, for a brief second, I heard something beneath the noise. A whisper. I froze. Did you hear that? Hear what? Hayes asked. I thought someone spoke. He adjusted the volume. The static grew louder. Then it happened again. A faint voice. Almost human. Almost. What did it say? Hayes asked. I couldn't tell. I played the recording again. The whisper returned. This time, every person in the cabin heard it. Nobody spoke. Dr. Sophia Carter slowly floated toward us. She was the mission psychologist, calm even under pressure. I heard the transmission, she said. What do you think? I asked. I think we're all under stress. So we're imagining the same thing? She hesitated. Stress can affect groups. Hayes crossed his arms. Even identical words. Sophia looked at the monitor. I don't know. I replayed the recording a third time. The whisper became clearer. It still sounded broken, but it no longer felt random. Sophia's face lost its color. I heard that. What? My name. I stared at her. Are you sure? She nodded slowly. It whispered Sophia. Hayes looked at me. What did you hear? I thought it was saying something else. What? I thought it said help. Nobody knew what to believe. Mission Control suddenly called us. Project Echo, report. Hayes answered. We're continuing the investigation. A cold voice replied. Stop investigating the signal immediately. I grabbed the microphone. Mission Control, the transmission is changing. We believe. That is not your mission. We need answers. You have your orders. The channel went silent. Sophia folded her arms. They're hiding something. Hayes looked toward the communication panel. I've been thinking the same thing. I returned to my console. The signal strength suddenly doubled. Warning lights flashed. What now? Hayes asked. It just increased without any source. Can you track it? No. Distance? Unknown. Direction? I swallowed. It's everywhere. The cabin temperature seemed to drop. The whisper returned. This time it was clear. There was no static. No distortion. Only one quiet word. My name. Every hair on my arm stood up. Sophia stared at me. You heard it too. I nodded. It said my name. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. Then, without warning, every light inside the spacecraft went dark. The cabin disappeared into complete blackness. Someone shouted, "Commander." Another voice cried, "I can't see anything." I reached for the emergency controls, but before my hand touched the panel, I heard the whisper one last time. It sounded closer than ever. As if someone were standing beside me in the darkness. The darkness swallowed everything. I could not even see my own hands. "Commander." I shouted. "I'm here," Hayes answered from somewhere to my left. "Stay calm." "Easy for you to say," another crew member muttered. A metallic thud echoed through the cabin. "What was that?" I asked. "No one move," Hayes ordered. "We don't know what shifted." My heart pounded so hard that I could hear it over the silence. Then, one by one, dim red emergency lights flickered to life. I let out a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. "Power is coming back," I said. "Status report," Hayes replied. I turned toward my console. The main systems are rebooting. Communications. Offline. Navigation. Restarting. Life support. I checked another screen. Stable. Sophia rubbed her temples. "I hate this." "You okay?" I asked. "I don't know anymore." Before I could answer, every monitor flashed white. Then rows of unfamiliar files appeared. I frowned. "Commander." "What is it?" "I didn't open these." He floated beside me. Neither of us recognized the folder names. One file blinked continuously. Project Echo Archive. Hayes stared at it. "That shouldn't be here." "You've seen it before." His silence answered me. I slowly opened the file. Thousands of pages filled the screen. Mission logs. Crew lists. Emergency reports. I whispered, "There are too many." Sophia moved closer. "What are they?" I clicked the first mission record. The launch date was 34 years old. Crew, 5 astronauts. Mission status. Lost. I opened another. Launch date, 29 years ago. Mission status. Lost. Another. 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 Every file ended the same way. Missing. No survivors. No explanation. I looked at Hayes. "You knew." He lowered his eyes. "I knew pieces." "You lied to us." "I followed orders." "You let us come here without telling us." "I wasn't allowed." I laughed bitterly. "Not allowed." My hands were tied. My life was tied to your silence. The cabin became painfully quiet. Sophia spoke softly. "Daniel, did you really know people disappeared?" "I knew missions failed." "You said nothing." "I believed NASA when they told me those stories weren't true." "Were they?" "I don't know anymore." Anger burned inside me. "I trusted all of you." Hayes looked directly at me. "I understand." "No, you don't." "I do." "No." I slammed my hand against the console. "You had a choice. So did I. You chose secrets. I chose the mission. And now we're paying for it. No one argued. No one defended him. The evidence was glowing right in front of us. I continued opening files. Each mission contained recordings. Most were corrupted. One video still worked. I pressed play. A tired astronaut appeared on the screen. His uniform matched ours. His face was pale. If anyone finds this, he whispered, don't come closer. The recording glitched. We thought we were exploring. Another burst of static. We were wrong. The image froze. Then disappeared. I swallowed hard. Sophia looked shaken. That's all. That's all that survived. I searched deeper into the archive. One locked folder remained. Its title made my stomach twist. Authorized by director Richard Sloan only. I stared at the words. Who's Richard Sloan? Hayes answered quietly. The director of NASA. I looked back at the screen. So the highest office knew everything. He nodded once. It seems that way. I reached for the encrypted folder. Then I'm opening it. My finger hovered over the unlock command. Sophia looked at me. Are you sure? No. Then why do it? Because someone has been lying to us. Hayes sighed. The folder is encrypted. I can see that. It won't be easy. I didn't come this far to stop now. I started working through the security layers. Line after line of encrypted code filled the screen. The spacecraft remained silent except for the tapping of my fingers. Finally, a message appeared. Access granted. The folder opened. Inside were recorded messages from director Richard Sloan. The first video began automatically. A man with silver hair looked directly into the camera. If you are watching this, he said calmly, then Project Echo has reached the object. I frowned. He expected us to find it. Hayes nodded slowly. He planned everything. Sloan continued. The crew must not return until all possible data has been collected. My chest tightened. What does he mean? The answer came seconds later. If the risk becomes unacceptable, the mission will be terminated. Sophia stared at the screen. Terminated? Hayes closed his eyes. I was afraid of that word. I paused the recording. He wasn't talking about the mission. Nobody answered. I whispered, he was talking about us. Silence confirmed my fear. I played the next recording. The object has displayed unusual intelligence during previous encounters. Direct communication is forbidden. Emotional responses must be documented. I looked at Hayes. Previous encounters. He nodded. So the missing missions really happened? Yes. You knew. I knew enough to suspect. Then why come? He met my eyes. Because I wanted answers too. His voice sounded honest. For the first time since launch, I believed him. A loud alarm suddenly echoed through the spacecraft. Warning lights flashed red. What happened? Sophia asked. I checked the sensors. We've changed course. What? We're moving. I didn't fire the engines. Hayes grabbed a nearby handle. Can mission control do this? I checked the controls again. No. Then who's flying us? Before anyone could answer, the front cameras activated by themselves. The giant object appeared again. Only now it was much closer. Its dark surface stretched farther than I could see. It had no engines. No windows. No markings. It simply floated in complete silence. Sophia whispered, "It's beautiful." "It's terrifying," I replied. The distance indicator kept falling. 5 kilometers. 4. 3. Hayes looked at me. "Can you stop us?" I tried every command. Nothing responded. "I've lost control." "Override it." "I'm trying." The console ignored every instruction. The spacecraft continued drifting forward. Then the communication speakers crackled. I expected mission control. Instead, a familiar voice filled the cabin. "Son." Every muscle in my body froze. I knew that voice. It couldn't be. My father had died 12 years earlier. Tears filled my eyes before I could stop them. "Dad?" I whispered. His gentle laugh echoed through the speakers. "I've been waiting for you." Sophia looked at me in horror. "What did it say?" I couldn't answer. I was too busy staring at the darkness outside. Because for one impossible moment, I thought I saw my father standing inside the enormous object, smiling at me. Then the image vanished. The spacecraft drifted even closer until the massive structure filled every window. No one spoke. No one dared to breathe. We had finally reached the greatest mystery NASA had spent decades trying to hide.